feel too good about it. What the fuck is Whack Nicholson? I feel like you guys are making up new people. Sometimes. This was Ken O'Keefe 10 years ago.
100%, without reservation. I support the right of self-defense without any doubt. I would be involved myself in violent resistance if I were a citizen of Palestine or Iraq or Afghanistan.
This perspective is from 2010. What's really interesting about it is that this is like Ken O'Keefe, U.S. Marine guy. I don't really know who this guy is, but I will tell you this much. This is a perspective that's shared by literally every single Israeli general, okay? They have openly fucking said that. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I don't know his background. I don't really give a shit about his perspective here, okay? You know why I don't give a shit about his perspective? Because the idea that you would join a resistance group if you were under those same circumstances is literally shared by Ehud Barak. It is shared by, Ben Gurion recognized this, okay? Former Shin Bet leaders have said this. I don't need to hear it from some fucking American guy, okay? I don't need to hear it from some American Marine Corps veteran or whatever the fuck. It is an obvious perspective. It is so obvious that every single fucking Israeli former prime minister and general has reiterated it. They have said time and time again, if I was on the other side of that border, I would be fighting. It makes sense. It makes total sense. That's it. By the way, bro is friends with David Duke, this guy says, and this guy goes, he has no bad takes. He's actually done a lot for the movement. Okay? You're crazy, okay? I don't know what that fucking guy's deal is, but I don't give a shit what he has to say. I don't care. I don't need to hear from a fucking American, okay, about why they would join the resistance when I understand why people would, okay? And I don't really care about some fucking random guy that I haven't, like, looked into in the background and don't know what his fucking takes are or don't know what his perspective is. I don't need to hear about this guy when people are going to use that and be like, see, this guy is pointing to an anti-Semite or some shit like that. What? I did not leave the left. I have no idea why I would come up. Apologize if my cyber stalkers are your problem. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Please stop bringing up random shit, okay? You guys are pissing me off. Eyes on the fucking ball here. There's a lot to talk about. Anyway, no one cares about... Oh my God, chatters are so abnormal, dude. I want to ban every single fucking person. Why is the liberal media peddling the vilest genocide apologism? I can't put this strongly enough. Howard Jacobson's article in today's Observer newspaper may be one of the vilest pieces of journalism published in Britain in living memory. What is the article? Tales of infanticide have stoked hatred of Jews for centuries. They still echo to this day. A year after the 7 October attack, the myth of blood libel persists in the media coverage of Gaza violence. Yeah, Felix had a take on this. Why is the liberal media peddling the vilest genocide apologism? Says Jonathan Cook. Howard Jacobson's article in today's Observer newspaper may be one of the vilest pieces of journalism published in Britain in living memory, arguing that any reporting of Israel's documented slaughter of many thousands of Palestinian children in Gaza is blood libel and anti-Semitic. It's pure genocide apologism. The guy that wrote this article is saying Israel kills a baby, and if you fucking report it as though Israel killed a baby when they did, that means you're doing blood libel. Okay? You're saying Jews kill babies. Like you're doing blood libel. It's like Jews don't kill babies, dumbass. Israel is, though. Israel is killing babies. The fuck do you mean? I don't think you understand. Blood libel means it has to be untrue, okay? You cannot point to a correct, real thing that everyone can immediately recognize and go, that's blood libel. When you say that, maybe it feels good in your in-group. Maybe it feels like it's actually a successful way to propagandize Israel's genocide in your in-group. But to the outside world, people go, what the fuck? What are you saying? It's a lie? It makes people reconsider whether or not blood libel is even fucking a real concept at all. You are undermining a historical harm, a historical lie that has led to so many pogroms against Jewish people by literally marrying Judaism with Israel's actions and then using that as a cynical deflection, using that as a cynical fucking shield to be like, oh, it's blood libel. It is so stupid. And I cannot comprehend why Western media outlets regularly do this. I don't think they recognize how much they are feeding into the underlying anti-Semitic tendencies of broader populations in the Western world. Okay? They are not thinking, they're not thinking clearly. They are not thinking about this thoroughly. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It is so short term. It is so unimaginably short term. You are just gifting Nazis an incredible fucking gift by doing this. Okay? I don't know how people don't see it. I don't know how they do not see and recognize the changes that are happening. If you think in the short term, this level of anti-Semitic conspiracies festering as a direct consequence of Israel tying its actions to Judaism, and Western outlets and Western people in positions of power defending Israel by saying, you're anti-Semitic if you think Israel's killing babies, okay? You literally are making everyone in Arkansas and everyone in fucking Omaha, Nebraska, and everyone in fucking Wyoming go, wait a minute, Jews definitely do control the media, okay? You're making people think, oh shit, I guess it's true. You cannot, under any circumstance, be like, no, dude, it's 100% Judaism and it's monolithic. Like, all Jews care about is Israel. That's the only thing they care about. You can't like how the fuck did we turn around in over one fucking year? How do we turn around and go, no, the Protocols of Zion is actually like a manuscript? Like, how is that even possible? I don't even understand it. I think people are so brain broken that they possibly think, maybe in a very cynical way, that this kind of defense in mainstream media might cause people to be anti-Semitic, but it doesn't matter, because the more people are anti-Semitic, the more there is reasonable ground for Israel to exist as a safe haven for Jews or something. Like, there has to be some underlying cynical motivation here, but it doesn't make sense to me, because you're forgetting that if everyone is fucking anti-Semitic, then and there's going to be less people that are interested in aligning with Israel to begin with. Oh. Like, what on earth did they all imagine that illustrative photo of blood smeared doll suggested? That the thousands of children blown to pieces by Israeli bombs are fiction? That all the children decomposing under rubble are made up? That the unidentified children buried in Gaza sands are a lie? That all the children dying of epidemics like polio or starving to death from Israel's aid blockade are an invention? It's Pallywood, okay? It is the final stage of like genocide denial. It is some of the most insane things that people do, and I think that they only do that when they think like other people also are in agreement. Like it was something that would manifest in Israel quite a bit, but at the very least, like, they wouldn't really showcase that on the Western world because it looks really fucking bad to the Western world when you're just saying, when you're basically just saying like, nah, you don't understand, dude. These guys are just faking it. 1956, Moshe Dayan's eulogy of soldier Roy Rothberg after he was killed near the Gaza border. Let us not cast accusations at the murderers today. Why should we blame them for their burning hatred for us? For 8 years, they have been dwelling in Gaza's refugee camps. As before their eyes, we have transformed the land and the villages in which they and their forefathers had dwelled into our own property. It is not the Arabs in Gaza that we should seek Roy's blood, but from ourselves. Moshe Dayan. Is still effective for the Deborah Messings of the world. Yeah, Deborah Messing is a fucking freak. Who gives a shit? Anyway, that any single journalist imagine for a moment that this was an acceptable article or photo in the midst of a genocide is astounding enough, but that whole phalanx of the most influential and liberal journalists in the country backed it without a second thought tells us something about the depraved culture that passes for journalism in the Western established media. These elite journalists are completely divorced from reality. Felix had a good take on this. He said, the only real difference between this and what Alex Jones did with Sandy Hook is stopping just short of naming the parents who are supposedly lying. But that's only because they want to paint Palestinians as a faceless blob whose anti-Semitism and dishonesty are racial traits. There is, like, this is QAnon shit. If you look to Israel's actions in Gaza and you say reporting on it is actually fake news, that these guys are not really being killed and they're just like making up their own deaths, you are no different than a QAnon supporter. That's it. The problem is this is the most mainstream version of like psychopathic sentiment being delivered by every single fucking mainstream outlet on a regular basis. Part of that is because of ideological allegiances and social conditioning that they've been brought up with. Other parts of that also are who Israel's enemies are. Israel's enemies are Muslims. Israel's enemies are Arabs. So for them, they are so primed with Islamophobia, especially in the post 9/11 world. Remember, a lot of these journalists are like Gen Xers who grew up and made up their minds during the post 9/11 world. That's when they went to college. That's when they were engaged in this collective hysteria. So Israel fighting this war is basically a continuation of the war that they fought and that they justified and that they thought was good to fight. It makes things so hard. It makes it virtually impossible to deal with. An entire generation of news media editors, broadcasters, commentators are so propped up with Islamophobic sentiment that they just have no way of seeing what Israel's doing is anything but like, you know, righteous vengeance against the Muslims who deserve it. You see those fucking like cartoons that depict Israel as like holding up a shield against like barbaric Muslims, you know, women wearing the hijab and like, you know, terrorists or whatever the fuck, right? Like that is a legitimate way that a lot of these people fucking feel. They might be knowledgeable enough not to openly state that, even though some do on a regular fucking basis with no punishments incurred for it whatsoever. But that's how it works. For a lot of these people, they just straight up think like Israel is stopping like this ISIS style Islamic fundamentalism from reaching into the Western civilization, which is far superior to the world of Islam. That is how it is. You are living through a lighter version of the post 9/11 experience right now. If you're new, if you are younger and you didn't actually, you didn't come to these conclusions because you were too much of a baby back then. You didn't develop consciousness when all this fucking anti-Islam shit was thriving in the media in an effort to justify the war on terror. And you basically developed consciousness in the aftermath of this 20-year occupation and death and destruction and destabilization of the region and know it as a bad thing. it's going to be a little bit different. Your perspective is going to be like, wait a minute. Why are we fucking killing these people? Right? Why are we killing these people? This doesn't make any sense. But for a lot of those people, for a lot of people in the older generations, they developed consciousness earlier. So they got primed with this social conditioning. Okay? Izzy says, well put. They won't ever name the victimizers in these fables for two reasons. One, because human beings have names, violent hordes don't. And two, there simply are too many dead babies and parents of them to name. Check this out. If you replaced every single word in this essay with the name of a child under the age of 10 who was killed by the IDF over the last year, you wouldn't even get a third of the way there. 14 pages of dead babies that are under the age of 1. Okay? I'm by far the youngest photo editor and in my beat at the New York Times, and this is so real. Everyone can say whatever they want about Israel, but I know my place to not say anything, and these same people are obsessed with Ukraine and liberation there. Exactly. And that's what's so, like, glaringly obvious about the bias here, right? That's what's so crazy about it, because we went through multiple coverage cycles of Ukrainian emancipation, which is a just cause. So we already know what it looks like when people want to defend themselves against an invading force, okay? We already know how the media can react when it's white people that are being victimized by a foreign adversary. We know. That's why in my coverage, I would regularly point to how this is not normal. People saying, this is not normal. This is not normal. Like, they would literally consistently say that because they were like, this is not normal because this doesn't happen to white people. What the fuck? This doesn't happen in Europe. This happens to our enemies. Okay? That's it. Anyway, I'm going to run the 3-minute ad break right now. I forgot to run it, obviously, in the beginning at 12. It's been quite some time. I'm going to run it now, and I'm going to continue. What is this? This is Axel Springer, CEO. Axel Springer, CEO Matthias Döpfner, calling for Germany to become more Jewish by encouraging more inward Jewish migration. He says it will improve Germany businesses and provide a counterweight to Islamism among Muslims. Like, dude, Germans are such fucking weird Philosemites. It's crazy. Like, they never stopped otherizing Jews. It's clear to me. They just went from like one version of events to an entirely different one. Yeah, and here's Columbia campus. At this point, it's almost funny that students on their own campus are outside agitators, but Columbia opened the gates to let in an unaffiliated Zionist organization with a tractor trailer full of shit to occupy that very same lawn today. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Your own fucking students can't protest against your involvement with an apartheid, with the state that does apartheid, okay? But an unaffiliated non-campus organization can come in and fucking literally occupy the same space that you brutally suppressed your own students on. That's it. Yes, those are milk cartons to signify those who have still been missing since October 7. This will piss off Trump's Nazi voters. They're not significant, okay? Plenty of those. Look, amongst the Nazi base of support for Donald Trump, you have people of two different minds, okay? You have the Nazis who are like, I don't care, he's still doing my wishes on the domestic front. You have Nazis who still think basically that they're just like hallucinating a different position that Trump secretly has. And you have Nazis who like Israel, okay, who want to send all the Jews to the desert and then fucking, rid America of Jews and want their own white ethno-state in the same way that they recognize Israel has a Jewish ethno-state. So it doesn't really matter. Also, they're not that consequential of a voting bloc. Let's be fucking real. Most Americans abhor